Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another one of our summer virtual series. My name is Tara Stevenson. I serve as the Vice President of Student Affairs at Flagler College, and I am excited to have you all here for another one of our sessions. A few housekeeping things before we meet our presenters and dive into our topics. We are recording this tonight. We have been recording all the other ones. Good news, I have a feeling they are going to be coming up to the Flagler College YouTube channel very soon. Heard back from our different teams on campus, so they'll be getting those out for you all very shortly because we know that we've been getting some questions about those. But as a reminder, the Q&A is open, so if you have any questions, we will try to get to all of those or at least direct you to somewhere that will have the answer for you. But without further ado, tonight's topic is all on safety and what that looks like for your student coming in the fall. And so I'm going to ask our presenters to introduce themselves and then we will jump right in. So, Dr. Dre, you want to go first?
Sure. Thanks, Tara. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Dre Adams Manning. I'm the Dean of Students, and I've been with Flagler just over 4 years now, and serving in the Dean of Students role just over 2 years now. So my primary responsibilities include overseeing our student code of conduct process, writing our student handbook, putting those rules and policies into place, and also having the Department of Residence Life report to me. And
Bill?
Bill, I'll pass it to you.
Thanks, Ray. I'm William Bird. I'm the Director of Safety and Security at Flagler College. I've been here for 3.5 years. In addition to safety and security, that's the security officers, all of our locks, access controls, cameras. I'm also over the transportation division, and we provide a shuttle service around the campus during the week to classes between the dorms and such. And after hours, we will provide a shuttle around the campus for safety. And on the weekends, occasionally, we will do some special trips out to, say, Target, Winn-Dixie, and maybe, if we're feeling generous, the beach. But we're still working on that. No promises.
So, Bill, you touched a little bit, but if you could kind of give like a overview of all of the different campus safety programs that your office provides. I know you talked about like the escort and safe ride services, the shuttles. What about security personnel and patrol?
Absolutely. We have 27 individuals with different backgrounds. This is not any of our first jobs. We're all experienced. About half of us have law enforcement background, those that don't have military or extensive security backgrounds. You will have about there will be several of us around the campus. We are based out of either the Abair Commons or the Ponce, we call it the Fish Bowl to be cute. It's in the Rotunda. Um, it's right there in the heart of everything where we have the D Hall and the dorms and everything. We also partner with SAPD. It's two SROs, school resource officers. Gary Johnson is the most well-known around campus. He will try to recruit students into the well, any law enforcement. He's not a specialist for SAPD. He will take them anywhere, and he's got the connections to streamline them in there. But they are our connections, and we have a very close working relationship with the police department. We also control the OmniAlert notification systems. That is what our emergency broadcast system is for the school. All the students are automatically enrolled in it as soon as school starts. They will receive texts in the event of an emergency. That could be a dorm fire, that could be a severe thunderstorm, that could be an active shooter. Um, Pretty much anything and everything that could inflict some sort of issue to campus, it will be broadcast out there to the students. We have the option with that program. The students can opt into this to use the OmniAlert app. It's a panic button. It takes the place of all the blue light phones you may have seen on the other campuses. What that does, it turns your student's phone into a portable panic button. It will send an immediate text message when it's pushed to all the officers and the SROs, whether we're on duty or off duty, with a little GPS pin mark on where that student is. And the assignment is, if you're on duty, you're coming to back them up. That also sends out a call to 911 while they're doing that. So there will be ample assistance coming to them when that happens.
And Bill, we typically get questions from family members on if they can have access to this alert system. What do you recommend for families?
We do have access to that. You can get it through the parent portal, but that's that's a personal choice. If you want to be getting messages about a thunderstorm where your child is, if you're a local, I think it'd be more useful than it would be, say, if you live in some of our students from Colorado or Pennsylvania. I think that just might add more stress to your life. But it's there if you want to use it. But it is dedicated to messaging the students, not the parents. So your primary form of information for the parents should probably be coming from our website or our social media platforms, which will also be putting out as much information as we can safely broadcast to the families.
And so, for your purposes, with what you're talking about there, it's really good to make sure that the student's phone number is on record with the college, and that it's associated with their individual record.
Yes, we've run into that problem a couple of times. Fortunately, it's not often, but yes, we will use the students, the phone number that's on record for the student, not what is specifically a student's unless they go in and change that.
Yeah. And then I know you and I've seen Gary do a lot with it as well, around bikes. And so what kind of programming and things do you recommend for bikes?
Bikes, we recommend bringing bikes to begin with. They're very good. If you want to use an e-bike, you can go ahead and do that, but there are restrictions that our residents life team will go over as far as electric bikes go. And honestly, the city's not necessarily big enough to use them. It's maybe 2 or 3 miles in pretty much any direction to get to what you'd want to do around St. Augustine as far as a bike goes. But should you bring a bike, uh, get a U-Lock. The highest crime that we do have is bike theft around the area. We have homeless individuals that will take advantage of an unsecured bicycle. If you're using a bike chain or one of those, carbon locks for your bikes, those break pretty easily. So if you get it, we recommend using a U-Lock. Since we've been pushing that and advertising that, we have seen our numbers go down as far as bike thefts go. And to encourage use of bikes, and using those locks, the St. Augustine Police Department has donated a decent amount of locks to us that if the student comes and registers with the security department, registers their bike, there's a little serial number on the back of their bike that we copy down, take a picture, and we record it, keep a record of it. We'll give you a free U-Lock. We have about 25, 30. It's first come, first serve. Just come on by. Third day that you're here, don't come in move-in day, and don't come in the Monday after. We'll be a little bit busy, but that first week, if you come on in, we have bike locks to hand out and keep your bike safe.
So let's go ahead and shift gears. I know sending your student off somewhere is intimidating, and overwhelming for anybody. However, one thing that we really like to emphasize is that we want to help your student along the way and that we want to set them up for success, set you all up for success. And so, if you both could touch on what are the different ways that your areas educate students on safety awareness? Dr. Dre, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Thanks, Tara. Like just about every other institution around the nation, there's some laws that really kind of dictate that, that our job is to help inform your student about like what crime is around on campus, also how to prevent that and how to be safe. So, one of our mechanisms is to have your student engage in what we call our kind of like our kind of Safe Saints program, right? So it's an educational module. We're going to email your student around August, or students, if you're around here as well, we're going to email you around August, let you know that there's 3 classes that we need you to take. One is an alcohol EDU class. We want you to be honest and truthful and engaged. We want you to understand what your alcohol habits are and how they're impacting your body and how to be safe around them. Another one is cannabis EDU. Just because the laws around the states, various states are gaining more traction, that's becoming more popular. It is not a very popular drug on our campus. I actually did all of our crime stats recently, and it's not my #1 violation. And then also respect EDU, because we want students to understand consent and engaging in romantic relationships and what that means and when to engage with a partner and when not to. In addition to that, in addition to the emails and everything, because we are going to set some due dates for that to be done. But your first year experience class your professor more likely than not is going to build this into their syllabus to give you some credit to participate in these programs as well. In addition to the Vector Solutions courses. You will see some events that are occurring on campus, as well as some awareness campaigns. We're going to have a safety week program. I want
It's
to
going to be
say
new this
September
year. I'm
9th. Yes, it's
excited.
new, first time. So, don't judge too harshly. Everyone wants to learn about safety. But one of the big things we're going to have, and I'm really excited about this because I think it's going to be hilarious, is during Welcome Week, we're going to have a hypnotist where he's going to have about 20 students believing that they are intoxicated from drinking water. So, and there's a lot of educational content in that as well, but it's going to be a great program, an event for you to participate in. Bill, I'll go ahead and pass it to you.
Thanks, Ray. Yeah, we've got several programs. A couple of them relatively new. One's gonna be brand new. Others been around for a while. First one's Coffee with a Cop. That's put on by our SRO Gary, and we're also looking to get one of our new SROs to put one on in the afternoon. Gary takes care of the day shift. Functionally, he's there to answer any and all questions that you might have for law enforcement. He's got a little swag that he can hand out. If you're lucky, he brings some of his wife's fudge. It's very popular. It's very good. I can testify. It's good stuff. And he's just there as a resource for the students. And his counterpart in the afternoon should be putting on something. We've been in talks to put on, I don't know, Pizza with Police coming up here in the autumn. So we'll have one to kind of
A little
balance that out.
alliteration with these.
Right? Well, I mean, that's part of it. You got to sell it, right? We're also putting on it's a new program. We started last semester. We're doing a safety town hall, and we'll have the assistant special agent in charge of the Jacksonville field office come down. He's a good guy. We'll have the sheriff come in. We'll have the SAPD chief of police. We'll have beach police representatives, and I'll be there. We're there to answer questions, address any concerns, and really encourage students on what they can and cannot do. For active participation activities, Officer Gary and I will be putting on a series of active shooter presentations. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to go around to the high points, the biggest areas that we have in the campus, the dining hall, the Ringhaver Student Center, and the library, where we have the most student population. And we'll meet with the students and we'll just give them a tour of the building. We'll show them some cool nooks and crannies, different exits, different avenues they may not have seen. And we're going to go over some different tactics they can use in the event should something happen. Not that we're going to allow anything to happen, if at all possible.
So these are some of the different ways that our team members on campus are working. But Dre, could you dive into maybe some of the student accountability and what are some other things that maybe they could be doing?
Yeah, number one, I'm going to say is read the student handbook or at least the code of conduct and the Res Life handbook and pay attention to those rules and policies. And with respect to like what you can get in trouble for and what you can't get in trouble for, I was very intentional when writing the student code of conduct to outline behaviors that are against the laws here in Florida, because laws here in Florida are different than a lot of our out-of-state students or what they're kind of like used to when it comes down to it. One specific thing is marijuana, right? It's not legalized here in the state of Florida. I see a lot of students coming down from New York or Michigan where it's legalized and they think they can bring it into the room. And next thing you know, it puts me in a position where I have to tell a student, like, I'm sorry, like, even though it's legal in your state or it's medical marijuana, because we're federally funded, they can't have it on campus. So, be thinking about ideas about how to stay safe, how to like follow the rules and policies, read those documents because we're going to send them out to you and they're already on our website. So please pay attention to those things. In addition to that, kind of like when reading like the student handbook, I really believe that our student code of conduct process is educational in nature. That is my intent. It's to be educational before penalizing students, even through sanctioning. Like if I'm finding a student responsible for violating the code of conduct because they got in trouble for something, right? I want them to reflect on the behavior, correct the behavior, and move forward in a positive way, and identify resources and support mechanisms to help them with that. The other thing I just want to touch on as well in terms of like promoting responsibility and safety, right? So if we are ever in a situation where a student has like engaged in alcohol consumption, maybe they've tried a drug, maybe they're having a negative reaction, they themselves or the friend group or a group of friends if they themselves or that group call for medical attention because someone needs it, right? I want to prevent like an alcohol-related death or a negative reaction as much as possible. Our code of conduct is going to give them amnesty from getting in trouble with the school. And also I asked our SAPD officers if someone calls for, help because there's like an alcohol reaction, drug reaction, they're not going to get arrested for that as well. So the big thing is remember medical amnesty, do the right thing. I want students to call and get help, ask questions, all of that kind of stuff, and really not worry about getting in trouble because I'm not here to like, my only tool is not a hammer, okay? So I think that covers it, Tara.
Yeah, well, and I think you touched on something too that we've been really working on is that bystander, like
Yes, yeah.
see it,
Um,
like if you're seeing something, please make the call. Like it's better to be safe than sorry and things like that. So I think those are really great talking points that our families can be having with their students now is like, what does that line look like for you? What does that situation look like for you? And how could you potentially handle some of those?
Yeah, and it's setting the boundaries like with your roommates, friends, teammates, your room, your responsibility. Guests, if they bring something into your room, it's your responsibility. If something's happening, you have a responsibility of removing yourself from the situation or doing something about the situation. So we want to encourage students to make good judgment calls and really go with your instincts on what you feel is right and wrong in those situations. I've had so many students who have said that like I had a feeling that I shouldn't have done that and I did it anyway. And then they're in my office and they're kind of regretting that decision. So like following those instincts, we have them, they're internal for a reason, is to help us like make the right choice when it comes down to safety, right?
Yeah.
So
So the real another big piece of the education and awareness that we do on campus is around hurricanes. And so we're in Florida, as you both have said, we're in a downtown area, we're near the water. So let's go ahead and dive into kind of what that planning and information sharing looks like.
well, if you're a residential student or your student's going to be a residential student, right? They've already started actually that process. So part of their housing application includes what they're going to do, and if a hurricane happens, and in the event that we need to evacuate, because let's be real and face it, that we are, I think, not even a quarter mile from the ocean, right? So we're in a flood zone. So we're in like flood zone A, which means that if we're going to get flooded or if it's going to impact us, direct hit, we're going to do the right thing and we're going to evacuate our campus. And we want your students to have that plan. I think what you can do right now is start thinking about like if you're a student, having conversations with your roommates and friends that you're making about like, are we going to carpool together? Who has a family member or friend who kind of lives outside of the flood zone or kind of the path of impact? Like with hurricanes, like 5 days, almost 10 days in advance of like where this thing might be going and how it might impact us. So it's good to start that planning process early. The other thing is like the campus is going to communicate with you. Residence life is going to communicate with you. If you're living on campus, going to be asking you if you need a place in terms of like a shelter. So if you haven't identified where you're going to be going off campus, even if it's home or with a friend, like I said, do you need to go to a shelter, and what that transportation is going to look like and what that plan is going to be looking like. In terms of academics, the campus is really, the professors are great with working with students. In the event that we're going remote or something like that. And then with respect to returning to campus, our biggest thing that we tell all families, all students, is that we need you to wait for the all clear because we need to assess our campus surroundings, make sure the residence halls and campus itself is safe for people to return. So.
Yeah. Bill, I know you had to step away, but is there any other information that you'd like to share when it comes to hurricanes?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't catch all that. There was a situation I
Yeah.
didn't have to take a phone call for, so I didn't catch everything that Dre was saying. But basically, I want to say we are going to err on the side of caution for the students. We are not here to tune them up, make them scared. We're watching the hurricanes all the time. We are constant. I'm in constant conversation with Tara and Dre and everybody else in the upper levels of the school. We will err on the side of caution. The academic side will err on the side of caution. We have been through this before. It's like having snowstorms up in Erie, Pennsylvania for us. We do know what to do. We've got the experience, and we're going to try and take care of everyone. And we're not going to leave your kid alone and isolated.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you said that, Bill, because that's something that I want so many of our students and our family members to know is that when there is the potential of a storm, our team is already mobilizing and starting the communication and thinking about what is our plan A, plan B, plan C, how are we supporting these students? But that's why I think it's really helpful that they are thinking about those plans ahead of their arrival to campus so that if something happens. One thing I think about Dr. Dre that you've always shared is when you've thought about those plans, if your evacuation is to Tampa, but that storm has a trajectory to go to Tampa, just maybe have an
Have a
alternate.
backup plan. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think that happened one year. A bunch of students had thought
I had
about
a
going
student
up
going to
to.
Miami and he was like,
Yes.
where am I going to go now? He figured it out. He went with some friends, I think to like North Carolina or something, and it worked out well for them. So
Yeah.
that's where it's like utilizing your resources, your friends, your network of people. We have Saints Connect. It's a module where students go to engage and like see what's happening on campus in terms of events. But there's also this really great community feed where students post, if they need a ride share or something like that to, hey, I'm selling my new pair of jeans. Like, does anyone want to buy them? Or here's a lost item. So definitely go to those modes of like communication. In terms of like other information and where you can find it, we have pages dedicated on our website to like the emergency information page. We have a hurricane updates page as well. And in the parent portal, there's also a specific hurricane hub that you can subscribe to parents. So information will be getting there in addition to any text message that we're sending out through Omni Alert or emails that we're sending out that parents may not get. So going to the website, you'll get some information.
Yeah. So, what do you all recommend are some things that families can do to support their student from home?
Well, I kind of wrote down like my top 4 or 5 tips, if you will. I'll share those. One is leading with curiosity and like open-ended questions, and really kind of shying away from those lectures and giving your kid a lecture about that. Asking questions to promote decision making. So, getting them to think like, okay, well, what are you going to do in this situation? Not so much putting what you would do in this situation, maybe guiding them, helping them along with that. So that would be tip number 1. Tip number 2, talk about everyday safety. So not just those big emergencies that the hurricane plan, like, yes, I want you talking about those, but also what are you doing on a regular basis? Like I grew up around Detroit, like these are conversations that my parents had with me all the time, buddy systems, if you're going out, well, I didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid. So letting you know my age, but it's keeping those cell phones charged or having a portable charger with you if you are going to be going out. A big one on campus and living on campus, locking your door. I have so many students who like to prop that door open. If you really want to have a secure space, lock that door, communicate with your roommate. We give you keys for a reason, please use them. And like I said earlier, trusting your instincts and talking to them about kind of that gut feeling of like what's right, wrong, what's the ethical choice, the moral choice, as well as like if it seems a little sketch or scary, like follow that instinct. The other thing I think just kind of talking about is alcohol use, drug use, cannabis use. If there is someone coming to campus with a medical marijuana card, just knowing that we can't permit that on campus by law. Talking about peer pressure, what to do in those situations, and setting healthy boundaries and how to do that. It's a very hard thing to do, I think, at the college age, and it's still hard at, in your 40s, we'll say. So, talk about boundaries and then like how you're going to reinforce boundaries if someone's going to kind of continue to pressure you to do something, right? And then I'll leave with this last tip of like independence is knowing when to ask for help and emphasizing, like if you parents can help emphasize that asking for questions is actually a sign of good judgment. I think that's going to help go a long way because it's brave to be vulnerable and to not know and to ask those questions. So we want to encourage bravery in finding the right answers and when we're in difficult situations.
Yeah. And I think also like something that we've touched on or that you both have touched on with other families and other situations is just setting those expectations for what communication will look like with your student. And so if there are emergencies, yep, we're going to need a check-in fairly quickly. But if there's, a once a day check-in, if there's a once a week check-in, this is one of those sessions that I love during our orientation sessions where the orientation leaders all talk about their different expectations for what they set with their family members on communication. That every Sunday night, I think it was Joseph was talking to his family, and every day I know Scarlett was sending a message to her mom saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
just letting you know everything's good today."
Yeah.
But at least they had set those expectations and talked about it ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Bill, what are just some different resources or ways to contact safety and security if our families are looking for more information?
Sure. We got two ways, generally, and that should get you anywhere at any time. We are staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Unless we're shut down for a hurricane, then everyone's gone home. But rest of the year we're there. So we got two methods. We got our phone number. It's 904-819-6200. Please have that programmed into your children's phone, if not your own phone too. There should be somebody able to answer that phone all the time. The second way is to email us. We have one big security email. We all have our individual emails, but the security email forwards it to all of them. It's security@flagler.edu. So if you send something to that, if you call us at that number, you'll get somebody. Somebody's paying attention to it. I got it on my phone. We will get back to you as best we can.
And another important thing is that that security email is going to officers that are on 24/7, like you
Absolutely.
said. And so there is going to be presence physically on campus, but they're also going to be able to check that if students need it. Dre, what are ways that students and families can get a hold of you and some of your resources?
Um, I think one thing I'll do like share is so many things in my brain. Sorry. Okay. Number one, I do have a dean of students at flagler.edu email account that students can email at any point in time, ask questions, or they can email me personally. I check both accounts. The other is that we have a reporting webpage. So it's www.flagler.edu/reporting. And that is a mechanism to go and find all the various different reporting forms. So if there's someone thinks there's a violation of the code of conduct, or there's like a res life violation, or discrimination, or sexual assault type violation, we have various different forms for students to fill out, and they're directed to like the right people who are going to be able to respond to those situations. In addition to that, we have the care referral as well. I don't know if we covered this in another webinar series or not.
It'll be coming at the end of
It's
July.
coming up. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. So the care referral and the conduct report, I'm going to use care referral, conduct report, reporting a violation, concern, so on and so forth. Care referral is to get someone help, right? So all of those forms are listed. We have a ton of resources that I encourage students to use, like going to the care team, safety and security, residence life team as well, the RAs that are in the residence halls, as well as the professional staff. Talking to a counselor if they want to provide a confidential resource. And then also SAPD, like we talked about earlier, we have Coffee with the Cop. Gary Johnson's always on campus until I think two or 4 o'clock.
Or
And then 4 o'clock, and then we have a second officer come on, Joel Jenkins, for the night shift. So we always have someone on campus for students to kind of call and utilize in the case that they need some support or some help.
Well, we have covered a lot in a short period of time. Many of this information is on the Flagler website, and I know that a lot of our different teams work hard to also share it out to the family portal so that you can find easy access to it as well. But not seeing any questions in our Q&A. I think y'all covered everything that we had really planned. Again, security@flagler.edu dean of students at flagler.edu. And then again, the website is a wealth of knowledge that we're trying to get so much on there for our students and families to get to know. I think the two biggest things for when to receive information is that Omni Alert. Students will have access to that. And then email will be that formal form of communication. If there is any sort of campus emergency, like a hurricane or anything else, then the team does work really hard to get communication out via email, also on the website, and things like that. But as a reminder, August 21st is move-in day. So that's our kind of deadline to start having these conversations and discussions with your families. I think it's really great to create that safe space now so then they feel a little bit more comfortable and confident later when they get on campus. Next week, July 15th, we are going to be connecting with our director of the Career Development Center, kind of shift our topics and really dive into what your student can expect from support and resources when it comes to preparing for that career, but then also what it could look like for after Flagler, and what are some of those resources for then. But both of you, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, everybody else, for joining us tonight, and we will hopefully see you at another future one. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.